It is always a great honor to introduce the graduating classes and to say something about them and to them. When I was growing up, I spent most of my Sunday mornings in the company of Mr. Newell, my Sunday school teacher. Mr. Newell was a large, burly man who could literally fill a room all by himself. But what I remember most about Mr. Newell was his bald red head. He always seemed to me to be permanently sunburned, even in the dead of winter. The best thing about Mr. Newell's bald head was that it got even redder when he was angry. For me and my 8-year-old cronies, Sunday school was not so much about religion, but how red we could make Mr. Newell. One morning, I launched a perfectly aerodynamic paper airplane from the back of the room. Like a stealth bomber, it flew silently over the heads of my friends, hitting Mr. Newell squarely on the forehead as he read the morning lesson. For years afterwards, there was general agreement at St. Christopher's Church that Mr. Newell was never angrier or redder than he was that morning. In fact, I am quite sure that he could have reintroduced child sacrifice to the practice of Western religion, and no one, including my parents, would have objected. Unfortunately, Mr. Newell did something far worse. He forgave me. He forgave my assault on his dignity, and he continued to love me and to teach me. In that one instant, he taught me that despite all my childhood antics, I was unique and I was special. When I was 12 years old, Mr. Newell died suddenly. The day he died, I remember feeling that I had lost something irretrievable with his passing. Mr. Newell would have loved your class. He would have celebrated your spirit, your individuality, your creativity, and yes, your sense of humor. He even would have forgiven you a few broken windows. He would have prized that elfish, unpredictable spirit that is so much a part of your class, a spirit that has brought this community so much joy. You weren't supposed to win another field hockey championship, but you did. It took you 10 overtimes to get to the finals, but hey, who's counting? You persevered through 3 years of championship matches to finally win the boys' state tennis championship. You have led MHS to its first women's soccer and lacrosse teams, and you kept football alive in Montpelier through 4 great years of 8-man football. You are the raft racers. You demanded that Montpelier High School treat you with respect and dignity, and you forever redefined the way freshmen would be welcomed at this school. You are, in fact, in the modern era anyway, the smallest class to graduate from Montpelier High School. You are also the first class to try to help out our budget problems by putting the school up for sale or rent. Over 90% of you have decided to share this evening together through Project Graduation, the largest percentage since it started. The actors in your class have created some of the most powerful theater this community has ever seen, and you have graced our lives through your music, through your art, and through your dance. You helped usher in a new era of learning and individual expression through computer technology and media. Your video yearbook was outstanding. Finally, you have in your midst some of the most caring and thoughtful people I have ever known. You have been good friends to each other and thoughtful leaders of this school. Mr. Newell had a favorite hymn. At least I think it was his favorite. We sang it at least 10 or 12 times a year. Maybe it was the only hymn he knew how to play. It's a children's hymn, kind of silly, really, but it's stuck with me. Maybe you've heard it or sung it. It goes like this. I sing a song to the saints of God, loyal and brave and true, who toiled and fought and lived and died for the Lord they loved and knew. And one was a doctor, and one was a queen, and one was a shepherdess on the green. They were all of them saints of God, and I mean God helping to be one too. The hymn goes on to describe all the odd places you could meet these saints. You could meet them in school, or in lanes, or at sea, in church, or in trains, or at shops, and my personal favorite, or at tea. I believe that for Mr. Newell, this hymn said everything he believed about life and the young people he loved so much. For him, each of us had the potential to do something quite remarkable and special with our lives. If Mr. Newell was here today, he would sing out with great gusto the last line of that hymn. For the saints of God are just folk like me, and I mean to be one too. The Sunday morning I lofted that misguided paper airplane, I was not exactly ready for sainthood. I suspect that none of you are either. But moved by a gentleness of spirit that I will never forget, Mr. Newell planted the idea deep in my soul that I could, with courage and hard work, make a difference with my life. I would like to suggest to each of you that Mr. Newell got it right. That each of you has within you a gift that is crying out to be realized and shared with others. You are a very special group of men and women. You can do great things in the world if you follow your hearts and realize the dreams that lie deep within you. The faculty and I wish you well as you embark on your personal journey of discovery. We love you and we will miss you. And Michael, here's your bill for the window. Live long and prosper. Mr. Superintendent, I give you the graduating class of 1994, of whom the faculty and I are exceedingly proud.
I was at Union School last week, and I was noticing in the fourth grade corridor that they had a whole wall filled with Polaroid shots of egg drop contest winners over the years. I didn't realize the significance when I looked at the Mike Berzicki picture from the fourth grade of what that would mean today for this class.